Ladies and gentlemen, War of the Visions is having its biggest Visiore lottery ever. So, in case you don't know, because the game doesn't really tell you if you just log in, you can go here and check in notices, events, and then go to 4th anniversary part 3 campaigns. Now, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on here, but the main part we're talking about here is this campaign to defeat the Ashen King Mont and win yourself a bunch, potentially win yourself a bunch of Visiore. So the way this kind of works is that there's going to be a big bad boss of King Mont, Ashen King Mont, and it's going to be a multiplayer battle. It's going to be Nightmare Quest difficulty, and you're going to be able to co-op with 3 of your buddies, so 4 total, and you're going to go up against King Mont. He's probably going to have some minions with him, and he might actually be a 4 square unit. Maybe not, but he might just be 1 square. But chances are he might be a 4 square unit, like a big unit. And he's going to be the boss, and you're going to basically have to take him down with yourself and some friends. Now, the last 2 times that they did this, I found it to be really fun, because not only do you get to team up with your friends and your guildmates, which is what I did, but then you also get to just kind of test your account, because what ends up happening is that somebody always posts like a solution, or maybe there's a couple of different solutions. But so it's one thing to have the solution, but then it's another thing to actually have the units, the equipment, the vision cards that you need in order to complete it. The good thing is that's between you and all your friends, so usually the equipment is what everybody would need to have. And then the last thing is actually executing it, because there's going to be times where it's like the enemy moves to a different spot or something like that happens, or maybe you forget what you're supposed to do on turn 5 or something like that, and then you might just get lost and have to redo it again. So I found this to be fun with my friends. We kind of just did it. We ended up losing a few times, and it was just fun that once we finally beat it, we just did it a few more times just to try to get a higher score. So I thought that was actually pretty fun. Now let's take a look at what the actual prizes are for this. So I find this interesting, and I think this is the best part about it. Okay, so if you beat King Mont, not only do you get this prize, this title, everyone gets this as a prize, so that's going to be great. Then you get entered into a lottery, a random drawing, to try to win some amount of Viz. So there's going to be 4 people that end up winning 100k Viz, 40 that end up winning 10,000 Viz, and 400 that win 1,000 Viz. So you have 444 chances to actually win some kind of Viz. Of course, it's a little harder to win up here, but you will have a pretty decent chance of winning some Viz. And then on top of that, there's also going to be another prize. If you defeat both the Realm Scourge and King Mont, you're going to be entered into another drawing. 3 for 150k, 30 for 15k, and 300 for 1500 Visiore. So you actually get this in addition to this, so that's 777 chances to actually win some kind of Viz. So and also the Realm Scourge is actually happening right now, so if you go and check your multiplayer, which we'll probably do in a few minutes here, you can go check that out. But there's going to be an additional stipulation on this, where if you beat the Realm Scourge, Crystallite Beast Moraga, and Ashen King Mont by that date, there's going to be 2 for 200k, 20 for 20k, and 200 for 2,000 Visiore. And then finally there's going to be one more, where if there's a total of 20,000 clears between the global version and the Japanese version, we are going to get an additional 1 for 300k, 10 for 30k, and 100 for 3k. So the actual Viz amount goes even higher depending on this, and depending on how many you clear. It's just a smaller pool of people each time, but there's going to be a total, if I did my math correctly, of 1,110 total prizes. So that's going to be pretty good. And there's a chance that if some kind of typo happens, we might actually just get an extra 1,000 or 2 Visiore for the error. Okay, so let's take a look here. If we go into the far plane, and if we go into multi, we can see that this event is running right now. So maybe you logged into multi to kind of complete one of your missions, and you saw this and you're like, what is this? That's what that is. So right now we have 21 days for this. So I imagine that next week we're getting Moraga, and then the week after we're getting Mont. And they're just going to all be there by the third week. But I think they gave us a week for each last time. We actually got a bonus week, I think, for the Realm Scourge. But just kind of make sure you kind of pace yourself, because you might have trouble finding people. But of course, you know, there's always communities and discords and things that you can find people. And you can also just try joining a random room. I don't see anything right now. But a lot of times people will say, oh, we're using the Glaciella method, or we're using the Livial method. I'm not sure if the Livial method will still work. All right, so aside from that, there's a couple of other things going on this week. So one thing which I still haven't started, and I kind of do want to do it, but I remember last time it was just a lot of work. So this is something that I do want to do, is the limited arena battle. So the way this is going to work is you're going to get 3 free refreshes, and it's just going to be a battle of everybody refreshing and doing as many battles as they can. It's basically the same as regular arena. We have some specific bonuses this week. Of course, if you pull on the latest stuff, you have this. This is probably pretty good to compete with, yeah. But if you're kind of competing here on the second tier, you'll notice that there is no ice or lightning unit. So whoever means like ice or lightning, you don't really get a bonus unit, sadly. You do get the third tier down here, but you don't get the second tier. So that's going to make it a little bit harder. Out of the visions cards down here, I do have 2 of them. I believe the one with Adelard is max, but not the one with Soul. So I kind of don't really have a lot to work with. So I'm kind of just struggling to come up with a team that kind of incorporates both the vision cards and one of these units up here. Besides Mashari, I don't have her fully built yet. But if I did have the Greater Demon or Shinryu, I definitely have a good team for that. I just don't have those cards, sadly. So I'm going to try to make multiple teams, and I'm going to try to just do the best I can. Usually I try to push for the 5,000 plus range. I could probably push into the 1,000. I mean, last time it was pretty hard, but I can try to push into the 1,000, but I'm probably not going to make it to that. I try to keep my life a little casual here, so I kind of just go for the 5,000 range. And actually, this is a real prize over here. I mean, but it's really, I mean, once you get up here, that's where it really matters. But between the top 5,000 and the top 1,000, it's not that much of a difference, so it's kind of fine. All right, so the next thing to kind of pay attention to is we're actually getting times 10 medals, and I believe it's times 5 medals for arena. That might not be this week, but it was there in the notices too. If we go back to the 4th anniversary, keep scrolling here. So this is another one, the 4 times guild chamber. So make sure you do that, because that's a lot of guild to kind of get. So free match is 10 times medals, and then arena campaign, I think that's actually next week. So keep that in mind, because those medals are super important. And we'll go into that. Actually, let's go into that right now. So if you go down here to arena medals, you got to make sure that you're getting them, because these are starting to be pretty important. You can buy skill potions, and you can give these skill potions to your Espers, and you're going to be able to unlock extra nodes. So make sure you're getting this. If you missed it last month, which I don't think I bought the max, make sure you start getting these, because they're going to be super important for meta. And there's going to be more tickets down here. I probably spent more for these tickets. I don't remember how I did it. But yeah, these tickets are down here as well. So make sure you kind of at least try to get the ones that are for the cost 40 units, because those are going to be probably the strongest ones. And then also, since we're getting a bunch of free pulls, kind of make sure you come in here and start buying these. These are going to be good for Elder Awakening, which is going to make your vision cards much stronger. Not only is it going to make it a little bit stronger by stat boost, but it's also going to give you a little bit higher sub stats on the sub vision card. So make sure you go in there and start buying these up and start using them on your vision cards. Right now I haven't really decided too many vision cards to use because they're kind of a little costly, but as time goes on, you're going to want to try to upgrade as many vision cards as you can. Okay, and then the last thing, I kind of mentioned the guild chamber, but the last thing is the class match. I don't really know if I'm going to go too hard on the class match if there's the dual arena going on at the same time, so I don't know why they decided to do that when we just finished Trials of Reckoning and now they want us to do two things at once. So I'm feeling like a little bit burnt out in terms of that. So that's kind of how I'm feeling, and that's all I really want to say about that. And then the last thing is to go in here and make sure you check your guild chamber, which is open for this week, and it's going to be 4 times drops. And pretty much everything is 4 times drops, but I probably wouldn't go for any of that except for the guild chamber. I am low on gil right now, but that's because I didn't max out my token shop this month, so I'm kind of just being really slow with it. I'm just waiting until next week or next month, and then I'll unleash the guild tortoises. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it. We do have Volke. I might pull for him. I'm not really sure yet. I'm not really sure if there's a good way to pull for him. I wish there was one of those 9 steps with the 18k guaranteed, but there isn't, and I'm not really sure what the best way to pull for him is. So I'm just gonna think about that for a little bit, and then I'm most likely gonna be pulling for King Mont. And if you haven't heard, there's the Final Fantasy Advent Children coming out too. So I'm probably gonna just pull for Cloud, maybe depending on how much luck I have. I might pull for Sephiroth as well, just because he's fire. Okay, and we're gonna have another Sephiroth meta, so I guess you might as well have him. Alright, so that's pretty much it. I hope that was kind of useful to you guys. The most important thing to me is to try to do that Viz lottery. If you guys don't do it, I'm definitely gonna do that, so higher chances for me to win again. But yeah, like I said, you have a pretty decent chance of actually winning like at least 1,000 Viz, if not in the tens of thousands, and that could actually go a long way for pulling or pitying whatever character you're kind of looking forward to in the future. So with all that said, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.